Nation? Russ Fritz here, and tonight we get into silly season bombshells involving Emerson Axsom and KCP Racing. Then we're breaking down the latest from the High Limit Series at Lernerville, where the points battle is getting wild, and we'll talk about that controversial policy that's got everyone buzzing. And speaking of controversy, we've got to hit on the World of Outlaws, especially after the BAPS race, where the PA posse actually showed up, and a certain incident brought the whole restart debate front and center. This isn't just about lap times and checkered flags. It's about the grit, the strategy, and the sheer heart of sprint car racing. Strap in tight, because this isn't just racing. This is switching grooves. Season driver change involving Emerson Axsom and KCP Racing represents more than a typical silly season shuffle. It signals a calculated strategic maneuver with significant implications for driver development and team dynamics. Emerson Axsom has been announced as the new driver for KCP Racing's number 18 car for the remainder of the 2025 season, stepping into the void left by Gio Scelzi's departure. This move, while filling an immediate vacancy, carries deeper strategic undertones that extend beyond a simple short-term contract. Axsom's transition from the Klausmeier-Petrie KPM team is particularly notable because KPM owners are explicitly supporting his decision. Furthermore, Axsom has indicated through social media that the KPM 27 car, which was built and centered around Emerson for their future, is expected to be back in 2026, with Axsom looking forward to returning to it. This highly unusual arrangement suggests collaborative approach between teams, where the long-term development of a promising young driver is prioritized over immediate competitive rivalry. This unique loan agreement highlights a belief in Axsom's potential and a mature understanding within the sport that developing the top talent ultimately benefits the entire ecosystem. KCP, an experienced World of Outlaws team with great equipment, is leveraging its established presence to provide Axsom with invaluable national touring experience, even if he is not retained long term. This showcases a forward-thinking approach to talent acquisition. And at just 20 years old, Emerson Axsom is widely recognized as a rising star with immense potential, and he's expected to be a huge competitor over the next decade. His background includes a transition from midget and non-wing racing to full-time wing competition just last year. Despite his relatively short time in wing cars, he boasts 130 starts, with 112 of those occurring in just the past 2 seasons. His 2024 campaign saw 2 wins, including a weekly show at Knoxville and a joint IRA/Maverick event at Lincoln Park. In 2025, he has already secured an All-Star Show win in Eldora during Ohio Speed Week, and crucially, he has 51 starts against the World of Outlaws, where he will now be running full-time, with a respectable record of 6 top 5s, 16 top 10s, and 3 third-place finishes, having led 51 career laps. This existing familiarity with the series he is now joining provides context for his ability to figure things out quickly and minimizes the perceived risk of the transition. The move is mutually beneficial. KCP Racing gains a young up-and-coming driver that has shown a lot of promise in a very short amount of time, but for Axsom, it is an opportunity to join a very experienced team with great equipment, providing invaluable exposure and experience on a national tour such as the World of Outlaws. He will gain experience at 12 new racetracks across different regions during the remaining 38 World of Outlaws races, which is critical for his development as a future national touring driver. While the narrative suggests that the pressure is on, Axel will not be super yeah, the pressure on Axel will not be super high, especially right away. There is an underlying tension between allowing a young driver time to settle in and immediate need for results. KCP Racing is currently eighth in the Outlaws point standings, and her final championship check is directly tied to maintaining or improving that position. The text explicitly states that if Axum does not perform well over the next 4 nights, KCP could easily fall 3 positions in the points, and that would be a major difference in the money at the end of the year. The team's motivation for this move is linked to this financial outcome, as you don't run 42 races of an outlaw schedule just to jump ship and not finish the year and not get that championship check at the end of the season. This creates significant, albeit implicit, pressure on Axum to perform quickly, despite the stated low immediate pressure. The financial stakes for KCP translate directly into performance expectations for Axum, a dynamic that could either accelerate his career and proven ability to adapt or test the team's patience if initial struggles occur. KCP Racing also holds a unique strategic advantage with 2 World of Outlaws free passes remaining for the 18 car, a significant detail given that most other Outlaw teams have already used all 4. These passes, car based, not driver based, meaning Gio Scelzi's prior usage of 2 passes does not impact the remaining allocation for the car. This flexibility offers a multifaceted strategic edge. It provides Axum with additional high stakes experience against top tier talent, potentially in a different car setup or series environment, broadening his skill set and adaptability. It also allows KCP to test their car and Axum against high limit regulars without sacrificing valuable World of Outlaws points or even jeopardizing their championship standing. This could be used for intelligence gathering, on rival equipment, driver performance, or track conditions. The flexibility opens the door for KCP and Axum to potentially compete in a high profile, high limit show, such as the one at Lucas Oil Speedway, without penalty to their World of Outlaws schedule. Having these passes late in the season, when other teams are locked into the World of Outlaws schedule or have exhausted all their options, means KCP can be opportunistic, choosing the most advantageous World of Outlaws events for their specific goals. High Limit Series update. Well, the points controversy and key performances are right here. The recent High Limit Sprint Car Series event at Lernerville Speedway not only delivered exciting racing, but also reignited debate over the series' controversial points policy for injured drivers, significantly impacting the championship narrative. Lernerville marked the final high limit race before a 3+ week break leading up to the Knoxville Nationals, allowing full-time teams to rest or race elsewhere. This event was notably missing injured series regulars Brad Sweet, Aaron Reitzel, and Tyler Courtney, creating an opportunity for other drivers to gain ground in the point standings. But Brett Marks, sitting 5th in points with much to gain, endured a challenging night. He barely transferred from the B main and ultimately crashed in the feature while racing with Brenham Crouch, finishing 25th. This poor performance resulted in him losing significant ground in the standings, falling 84 points behind after entering the night only 58 points behind. The controversial aspect of this outcome is that he lost ground to drivers Brad Sweet, Aaron Reitzel, and Tyler Courtney, who were not even present at the racetrack due to their injuries. While the policy is acknowledged as understandable, its impact raises questions about whether it is right. This policy, while potentially intended to provide a safety net for key full-time drivers and encourage their commitment to the series, can lead to perceived inequities. It dilutes the meritocracy of a points championship where success should primarily be earned through on-track results, as a driver's on-track performance can actually be disproportionately penalized when competitors who are not performing due to absence are implicitly gaining ground. For a relatively newer series like High Limit, Establishing clear, transparent, and consistently fair competitive rules is paramount to building long term credibility and attracting top talent. Rico Abreu, fourth in points, managed to make up a small amount of ground. Starting 16th, he drove to a seventh place finish, narrowing his deficit from 37 points to 29 points, just behind the leaders. Carson Macedo delivered a commanding performance, leading all 40 laps from the outside of the front row to secure his first ever high limit feature win. Notably, Macedo and Chris Windom both utilized World of Outlaws free passes to enter the high limit event, with Macedo now having exhausted all of his free passes for the season. This win followed his brother Cole's first high limit victory the previous week at Fremont Speedway, adding a unique family narrative to the series. These instances of World of Outlaws regulars using free passes to compete in high limit illustrates the fluid nature of top-tier sprint car competition and the strategic decisions teams make beyond their primary series allegiance. Such actions reveal a calculated pursuit of competitive advantage, exposure, or technical development, demonstrating that primary series allegiance is not absolute. Tanner Thorson finished second after a very late, very low move around Cy Lynch, who secured his first top five and podium finish of the season in third. Cole Duncan filled in for Tyler Courtney, finishing 11th. And significantly, Gio Scelzi, recently departed from the KCP Racing, will now finish the season in the Clausen Marshall 7BC car, aiming to help that team win the owner's title. Anthony Macri and James McFadden rounded out the top five, and James McFadden's team, Tartan Racing, actually returned to their Kissler Racing Engines power plant after briefly running a Toyota engine during the Outlaws shows at Eldora Speedway. This temporary engine switch highlights the intense competitive environment where teams are constantly seeking the edge, whether through strategic scheduling or calculated technical experimentation. The High Limit Series will resume action on August 15th at the Tulare Thunder Bowl in California. Now, over to the World of Outlaws updates. Well, the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Sprint Car Series continues its demanding schedule marked by intense regional rivalries and a critical escalating issue regarding restart enforcement that demands urgent attention from the sport's governing bodies. It's getting out of hand. Following Eldora, the Outlaws embarked on a busy stretch, including races at Bass Motor Speedway. Was supposed to be two shows tonight at Williams Grove, but tonight was canceled, so now it's down to one. And then Weedsport on Sunday, and directly over to the Ironman at Peevely, right on over to the Knoxville Nationals. This grueling schedule highlights the endurance required of full-time racing teams. The fierce rivalry between the Pennsylvania Posse and the World of Outlaws was rekindled at Bass Motor Speedway in York Haven, Pennsylvania. And local favorite Anthony Macri, fresh off of his $200,000 win at the King's Royal at Eldora, continued his winning streak. Macri started second, expertly passed defending World of Outlaws champion David Gravel on lap 7 after a restart and exchanged the lead, ultimately holding off David Gravel in traffic to secure his second consecutive World of Outlaws win and third overall of 2025. His victory puts the PA Posse ahead 2-1 in the 2025 rivalry scoreboard, with Macri also responsible for the earlier win at Williams Grove. Macri's post-race comments highlighted his strategic adjustments to the car and his adaptness at navigating like traffic. This continued dominance by Macri, particularly in his home state, underscores the unique and potent dynamic of the regional posse drivers challenging the National World of Outlaws Tour. It is a powerful narrative that fuels fan engagement, validates the strength of regional competition, and highlights the depth of talent that exists outside the full-time touring circuit. The consistent success of drivers like Macri, who are not full-time World of Outlaws competitors, challenges the perception that only touring professionals can win at the highest level, reinforcing that sprint car racing is a grassroots sport with deep regional roots. David Gravel held on for the second spot after leading early and battling Macri, acknowledging his indecisiveness on the pivotal lap 7 restart. This marked his series best 24th podium of the campaign. Bill Balog secured a much needed third place finish after a tough stretch in Ohio, and Buddy Kofoid and Brett Marks round out the top five. But the BAPS event was marred by a dramatic crash involving Danny Dietrich on lap 13, which escalated into a public confrontation over the restart procedures. Dietrich, after a significant ride up the front stretch wall, voiced strong displeasure with other drivers, specifically Logan Schuchart, regarding on how they were firing off and driving on the restarts. This outburst led to a verbal dust-up with Shark Racing crew members, and while Dietrich later issued a public apology for his language, the incident brought to light a systematic problem: inconsistent for enforcement of restart rules, particularly for cars deeper in the field. The observation from an experienced flagman, such as myself, corroborates that drivers are jumping an entire row or even two without penalty, leading to widespread confusion among fans and drivers, a lack of faith in the process, and accusations of favoritism. This inconsistent enforcement is not merely a matter of competitive fairness, it is a direct and growing threat to driver safety, the financial sustainability of teams, and the overall credibility of the sport. The lack of clear guidelines and consistent penalties, especially for cars further back in the field, contributes directly to dangerous situations, equipment damage, and driver injuries. Dietrich's crash itself serves as a prime example of the safety risk involved. The call for all of sprint car racing's top series to come together on this issue, get it cleared up, clarified, and if necessary, take actions to put an end to it all. Underscores the urgency and need for the industry-wide standardization. Failure to address this systematically could actually erode fan trust, deter new talent, and ultimately impact the long-term health and professionalism of sprint car racing. My conclusion? Well, the recent events across the sprint car world underscore uh, a sport in dynamic evolution, grappling with talents, transitions, policy changes, and fundamental issues of competition, integrity, and safety. Emerson Axsom's unique loan to KCP Racing highlights a potential new model for driver development, emphasizing collaboration over traditional rivalry and showcasing a strategic investment in a rising star's long-term career. This arrangement provides Axsom with critical national exposure and experience, while KCP benefits from a promising young talent, albeit with the immediate pressure of maintaining their championship point standing. Simultaneously, the High Limit Series faces a critical test of its championship credibility with its injured driver policy. The impact on drivers like Brett Marks, who lost ground for absent competitors, forces a reevaluation of fairness in a competitive series. While such policies may aim to protect full-time participants, their practical application can lead to perceived inequities that undermine the meritocracy of the championship chase. Most urgently, the World of Outlaws, and indeed the entire sprint car community, must confront the escalating problem of inconsistent restart enforcement. The Danny Dietrich incident serves as a stark reminder that this issue is not merely a procedural nuance, but a direct threat to driver safety, the financial viability of the teams through equipment damage, and the sport's foundational trust. The widespread confusion and accusations of favoritism stemming from inconsistent officiating demand a unified, transparent approach from all major series to restore confidence and prevent further incidents. As the sport heads to the prestigious Knoxville Nationals, these narratives will continue to unfold. The strategic decisions made by the teams and the series officials in the coming weeks will not only shape the remainder of the 2025 season, but will also have a profound lasting implication for the future growth, safety, and competitive balance of sprint car racing. The ability of sports leaders to address these complex challenges will define its trajectory in years to come. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And that's going to do it for this episode. But remember, we bring you insane motorsports moments, professional breakdowns, and adrenaline packed edits every single week. Whether you live for those sideways, mudslinging dirt sliders or the rubber throwing, paint trading speed in NASCAR, you belong right here. Hit that subscribe button below so you never, ever miss a finish. Until next time, keep switching grooves. I'm Russ Fritz saying race hard, stay safe, and we'll see you there.